think it's the people. I've done some volunteer work in a few different, mainly Asian countries, which were also fabulous and really, really nice. But here I think, especially the language barrier isn't a problem. So you really get to understand the local community, and really everybody's very, very welcoming. So you sort of just feel part of a place very quickly. So yeah, I just felt at home really fast here. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back. My name's Katie Emerson. First I came to do some initial volunteering with another organisation in 2014, it's about nearly 10 years ago. We were building school libraries and some homes for people up in the north of Ghana as well. So I came for about 3 weeks with a friend to do some volunteering, and then loved it and wanted to continue doing some charity work out here. And then Richard was working for that organisation at the time, and we stayed in contact as friends, and then I decided to come back out to see what kind of work I could do here voluntarily, and then we ended up having a relationship, and then I moved out here in August 2015. I think some were a bit surprised, but my mum did a lot of travelling in her 20s around Africa, so I think she kind of got it and she lived in Egypt for a year and stuff, and so I think she was like, oh, okay, I can see the appeal, and then when she came out for a visit, she was like, oh, I can really understand why you've fallen in love with this country. But yeah, I mean, everyone's been very welcoming. Obviously they're sad that I don't live in the UK anymore and they don't see me as often. That's probably the trickiest part, but other than that, they're really happy for me. So. Yeah, I mean, everywhere has challenges, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest country to live in, but then where is, so, but yeah, no, I think here you sort of take every day as it comes. It's not kind of like planning years ahead. You sort of just see what happens on that day. So yeah, no, and then I just really wanted to like do something in Ghana to give back and help the next generation. So that's when we sort of decided to set up the charity. Well, when we were doing the mobile library with this other organisation, building building libraries in uncompleted school buildings, we realised that it was like great giving the books to kids, but if they can't read the story, what's the point in a way? They can just look at the pictures, but they can't read. And we actually realised that there's actually a big need for teaching how to read properly. So we started just initially as a kind of hobby, a little project, working in one school with 14 teenage girls, and it just grew. Suddenly within like 2 weeks, the teachers were like, oh, can we have another 4 pupils come in? Can we have this? And suddenly by the end of that term, we had taught about 30 to 40 kids how to read, teenagers. So they were like 13, 14-year-olds who, some of them didn't even know the alphabet, but they were in school every day. And then we started getting calls from other schools, and it just sort of grew from that. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's I think we would have loved it to have grown bigger than it is, and nearly every day I'm receiving emails from schools saying, please can you come and help, please can you come and help. And it's still just me working voluntarily for the organisation and Richard working full-time or part-time for it. So yeah, we're doing as much as we can, I would say. I think it's very, very rewarding, obviously not money-wise, but just in the sense that you actually see a child transform from somebody who is very withdrawn, very quiet, probably sits at the back of the class, never speaks, to somebody who is engaged in the class. They start to have friends, they start to smile. And I remember one story where a teacher said to me, oh, I gave a student a hug today. And I was like, what? She's like, guess which student? And I guessed right, but it was because for the first time, she got up and attempted to read something off the board. And the teacher said, wow, she's got beautiful smile and teeth. And she'd never seen her talk before, you know? So it's those kind of things that make a difference. And we're not, you know, we're working with teenagers who, they're not going to be the next doctor or the, you know, because their abilities in other subjects are not high as well, but they'll be able to fill in a form to apply for a job. They'll be able to understand the medical things that for their child when in the future they'll be able to teach their children how to read, and it will become a cycle that, you know, the future generations, it will get to the point where we won't even be needed. That's our aim, that, you know, if everyone learns to read, then what's the point of our organisation? So in a way, that's the dream, to close down in years to come. It's difficult, mainly just friends and family. We apply for some grants when we can. We're registered in Ghana but not in the UK, so that limits us on finding grant applications, unfortunately. Mainly, yeah, I mean, when we started it was coming from our pocket for a long time. We had a motorbike, so we'd just go with books on our back and drive to the different schools with and teach in the afternoons. So yeah, I mean, it's the finance is the bit that's causing struggles, and you know, it would be amazing to employ some other Ghanaians to come on board and to expand the projects and work in different regions and districts, but it's limited. And then after COVID, everything got quite even more difficult with, you know, a lot of people saying actually we can't afford it to donate anymore and stuff like that. So it's definitely not easy, but I think that's the main problem with every charity. They find funding quite difficult. But yeah, we're ticking along, should I say. So yeah, the dream is to expand and to do that, but feasibility-wise, it's quite limited with what we have capacity. So the schools, generally they hear about us from another school teacher or head teacher, or maybe one of the students has moved to that school and suddenly they're like, oh, this kid knows how to read well, and where did they learn this? And so we're actually getting calls all the time, both from government schools and private schools. You know, I had one this morning from a private school in Accra, and they're saying, please, like, we have issues with reading, can you come? So there's the need there, but there's only two of us, and you know, but what we do is we work with the Ghana Education Service. So we generally say what school needs the help the most, and they provide like a list or a district that we should work in. So we feel like we want them to give us the places that need it the most, and we will go there. So, but yeah.
And I think it's mostly the remote areas.
It is, but it's funny because when we started the organisation, we worked in a very inner city school, thinking, oh, we'll just work here, and we've only just started this project, so maybe there'll be about 4 or 5 kids. And that's when suddenly there was this 20, and then, so actually, there's a lot of schools that need it. And the problem with the inner city schools is a lot of the kids are not from there. They're often from the villages, and their parents have sent them to work, to live in the inner city in return for work. So what happens is they go to school in the daytime. After school, they'll quickly change, and you'll be seeing them selling water on the streets. So actually, the inner ones, the city ones, are the ones that we have the most difficulty with, because they're often staying with somebody who isn't their parent or family member. In their minds, they are there to work. So when we go and say, oh, like, please, can they stay an extra hour after school for our project and teaching, it's difficult. So whereas in the villages, they have other struggles. Maybe the electricity is not there for them to do their homework and things like that. But they're around their family a lot, so it's actually easier to work with them. Donate. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? It's I don't blame people who do donate to charities. That when you see something that's physical, it's very easy to donate, and you'd feel like, okay, I've seen this grow. I've built a library, or I'm building a school or a toilet block or something, and you see, okay, that's it. With our project, it's very much we need the people on board to come and teach and grow the literacy side of it, and it's quite hard to kind of get people to understand that, to see the growth of, if we teach this child, look at the future of that child. So yeah, I mean, what we need is financial donations so that we can take on a couple more workers and try and expand the project that way, and find it sustainable, because I wouldn't want to bring somebody on and then 5 months down the line I can't pay them anymore, So ideally what we're looking for is UK sponsors or companies who want to say, okay, we'll do a monthly donation of X amount, and then we can say, well, look, we've taught X number of students from your money how to read. They were illiterate before, and now look at their future. So yeah, donations, and then we sometimes get people donating books as well. So we run a mobile library. So we have collect books for that, and also we have some schools where they have rooms that need books in them. So they've got like a space for a library, but they don't have any books. So we try and collect books for them too. But then the problem with that is you have to get the books from, say, the UK or the US, and then finance getting it here as well. So that isn't easy either. Yeah, you can set up a monthly donation or a one-off donation through the website. And also, since it's just me and Richard, anyone can contact us by email, by social media, Instagram, and it'll be one of us that replies. So they can have a personal message, and if someone says, I really want to donate this amount, but it needs to go for this, then that's also totally fine. What isn't to like? I think it's just a very laid-back way of life. I was working a very city-type job in London, which you kind of, you look forward to the weekend. By the weekend, you're so tired that you don't do anything. And here, it's just much more laid-back. And people see you as family if you're not part of their family. I often feel shocked when I see, like, I don't know, say a car's broken down and you see 10 different people running to help that person. If that was in London, they'll just drive straight by, So there's this kind of real community spirit that I think you don't get in many places. So yeah, that's probably one of the main things I love about this country.
It's rolling now.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you happy to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Very good.
Yeah.
Really hot.
It's hot, isn't it?
It's so hot.
Yeah. So when you are in the UK, it's like, I can't wait to get to a place.
I know.
And then you come here and it's like, oh.
It takes your body like a few days to adjust to here, and then when I go back to the UK as well, I'm shivering for a few days. So it's funny how your body has to adjust to it.